G'day all, it's Colin from PCTLC and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be installing ArchPlasma from antechdesigns. This is his new one that he's got going on there. So we'll get the install going and then we'll take a look around the desktop. He's also got the same as his Arch Deepin, he's got gparted installed, which is my favourite. So we'll just get gparted going and we'll have a look at what we need to do with the disk here. What I might do is I might just delete that and recreate it so there's nothing left over from the Arch Deepin install. That's why I always recreate the partitions if possible, so I don't leave nothing left over from the previous install. So let's do that. So all you do is delete it, it stays the same size, and then you just create a new one. So it's 512, it will be a FAT32, and we shall add that and apply that. And we shall also do the same to this disk here. Let's just delete that. That's the 60 gig drive or partition that I usually use for installing the operating system. So that's done, and we'll create a new one there. ext4, so all defaults there. The disk size is correct. And ext4, and let's add that and apply. So SDA4 is my data partition. Not sure if there's anything left on there. I may have deleted it recreating partitions. SDA3 will be where we're installing ArchPlasma. I still have Linux swap there. I'm not going to bother deleting and recreating that because swap is just swap. But the reason why I do the SDA1, the 512 megabyte, is because it is the boot partition. You really don't want to have anything left over on that partition from the previous install, so it's best to delete it and recreate it fresh. Otherwise it could create issues. That's why I do that. So what we're going to do here is manage flags, and it'll be boot ESP, and those two are correct, and close that. You don't have to apply that, as you can see it's not highlighted. So we can now close gparted down and we'll start the installer. So I'm assuming that this will be nothing different from the Arch Deepin install. So select language English. So prepare the install. Set virtual console. So that would have to be US. Desktop keyboard US English. Partition disk we do not need to do because we have already done that with gparted, so we'll skip that. Logical volume management, we don't need to do that either, and it is optional, so we'll go to mount partitions. So SDA1, so we're selecting the root partition. This is the partition where Arch will be installed, which is SDA1 is my boot partition, SDA2 is swap, and SDA3 is my root partition. Now, if you're unsure about that, you could probably open gparted up while you're doing this and just check your disks so you're well aware of what's going on. So if we have a look at SDA2 is my swap, SDA1 is my FAT32 boot, and SDA3 is the root partition, because you can tell by the size it's 60 gig. So we'll go with SDA3. It will be ext4. The mount is successful. Select swap partition, which is SDA2 is swap partition. And then select the UEFI that we're going to boot from, which is my SDA1 FAT32. Has already been formatted. Reformatting will erase all data already on that partition. No. And we'll go for boot EFI. mount successful. And we are done, so just enter that. And we go back, install base, install base. So that's our install base complete. We'll run the mk init cpio. Not quite sure what that stands for. And then we'll install the bootloader. We'll go for grub 2. So we shall go yes there. Some UEFI firmware may not detect grub unless it is set as the default bootloader, resulting in an unbootable system in such instances. Do you wish to set grub as the default bootloader? Yes, we do. Then we go back, configure the base, generate our FS tab, which is, I use the UUID, set the host name, ArchPlasma Tosh for my Toshiba, set the time zone, which will be Australia and Perth, Australia Perth, yes, set the hardware clock, I think it's UTC is correct, set system local, which is English AU for Australia. Set the root password. Add the new user, which will be Colin. Enter password for Colin. Go back. I don't need to review, I'm pretty confident that's okay, so I'll click done, and yes, we'll close the installer. So that is ArchPlasma, brought to you by antechdesigns, installed, and after a clean boot we shall have a look around the freshly installed desktop. So here we are in the desktop of antechdesigns ArchPlasma 19.6, I believe. First things we're going to do is check out the updates, and I believe that he has Discover in here, so let's check that out. Discover gets a little bit of negativity sometimes, but I find Discover not too bad to use. I don't normally have too many problems with it. Let's go to update. So we've got all updates there, that's checked off, and sorry, that's update all. So all updates selected here, yes they are. So let's check, let's click on update all, and let's update the system before we do anything, which is always the best thing to do with any fresh installed OS. We're about 20% into the updates, and I just noticed here we've got our tasks. So we're up to 20%, but in this Discover here, normally you have a blue line running against each individual application that's being updated in Discover. However, that doesn't seem to be the case in here. So I'm not sure whether that's meant to be that way or whether maybe an update will sort that out. So I'm really not sure about that, but normally that's the way Discover works. I also think probably the other thing could be because my mirrors are slow. Now, I think I did the same thing in Deepin. I did not check the mirrors until after, and I think that's in, if I remember right, etc. Would it be Pacman something? Where are we? Pacman D, mirror list, open with Kate. So yeah, we've got a whole heap of servers that it's checking, and what I did there was put a hashtag next to the ones that are not close to me, so Germany, United States and all that. None of them will work for me. Like I said, I think in Deviant it's got to be New Zealand, somewhere in Singapore, Asia or Australia. Those ones will work fine because they're very close. So I'll probably need to go through that as well and do the same thing there. But that would require to open that up in with elevated privileges in the terminal, more than likely. I don't know whether we've got open as root or anything like that here. Let's just check that out. Let's right click on that. No, we don't have an open as root or open as administrator there, so could be within the updates, but I don't think so. So here it says we'll be updating to KDE Plasma and Desktop 5.16.01 to 5.16.1-2. So just to put that into perspective, KDE Kubuntu is using 5.15.4, and that's Kubuntu 1904. I'm not quite sure what the 1804 is on. I think it might be 5.14. So, of course, being on Arch here, on an Arch base, we will always be on the most recent updates of Plasma. Okay, so we've got up to 60%, and now we can see the individual applications going across. So obviously that doesn't work when it's downloading, which I thought is how it worked. It's now doing that at around about 60% after it's downloaded, as you can see. And we are completely up to date on antechdesigns ArchPlasma 19.6. That's all gone very well. So now let's have a look here to see what we have available, because we are using Discover, and I'm hoping that it's checking everything within the Arch repositories. So let's check it out. I'm assuming I should be able to find Zoom. Well, actually, no, probably you'd only find Zoom in the AUR, I believe. So yeah, that would be right. So we'd probably need to connect the AUR. I'm not sure what utilities we have here. So let's have a quick look around the desktop anyway. So we've got recent applications, development, Plasma Look and Feel Explorer. That one there, what you can do with that, and I did this on Ferrand Next, but I forgot about the tweaking I did to that. I made my own Unity desktop and then I reinstalled something else and forgot to save it. So I saved it, but I forgot to sort of keep it. So that's all right. I might go back and revisit that, maybe even on here or on Kubuntu, because I've still got a video to make on Kubuntu 1904. So you can save it from layout from current Plasma desktop, or setup. So you can change it completely and then save it in here. So I still have to work out how to do that. Check out Big Daddy's video again and see if I can work that out. So what we have in here is a Plasma Theme Explorer. I'm not quite sure what that is, so it must be current themes. Okay, I'm not quite sure how that works. So that's development. I don't mess around with this Qt stuff. Cuttlefish, I'm not quite sure what Cuttlefish is. Okay, a heap of icons there. I haven't used that before. Graphics, GwenView, Internet. We have no web browser yet. Multimedia, we have the Deepin Movie Player, MPV Media Player, Pulse Audio Volume Control, and I've installed Simple Screen Recorder. We have our system settings. In system, we have Deepin System Monitor. So it's pretty cool that antechdesigns has added some of the Deepin stuff in here, which is some of the Deepin stuff is really nice. But to have it in Plasma, I think is even better. So that's our monitor memory 22%, 1.7 from 7.7 gig. That's a little bit high, I must say, for Plasma, but must be my recording probably. So let's not forget we're recording. Disk read and write speeds, okay. CPU 12.5%, network. Do we have any other views here? I don't know. So dark theme, even the deep-in applications still have their dark theme there. That must be built into the application itself, I'm not sure. So simple screen recorder is using 368 megabytes of memory. So I don't know why that memory usage is so high. Let's move on. We have the deep-in terminal in here as well. Could probably change the theme as well, switch theme. Oh, that's the themes for... Okay, so that's the themes for the typing. About deep-in terminal 3.2.6. We've got Discover, as we've seen, Dolphin, G-parted, Info Center, K-Sysguard, which is the other memory system monitor for the native system monitor for Plasma Desktop. And what is that saying? We're using 1.1. That would probably be about right, because Plasma does not normally use... Plasma's normally down around about the 500 mark, 600. So that's probably more true to what it's running, I would say. Still got, we've got the Dolphin File Manager there. And we have also G-parted still installed after install. Info Center. ArchLinux. We've got some utilities here. We've got Archiver for unzipping archives. Deep in terminal there as well. GNOME Disk by the looks of it. Yes, we do. Good choice. Kate Text Editor. Spectacle Screenshot. Software Token. I'm not quite sure. Okay. I'm not quite sure what that is. And then your power and session utilities there. And you got some across the bottom here as well. So just enough to get you going there. No web browsers. He's left the web browser to your choice of web browser, which is a good idea, I believe. Now, I don't know whether we can get Discover to hook up with AUR. Not quite sure about that. Because normally you'd be using Pac-Man in here. So a little bit of a glitch there in this desktop. That's probably my Optimus card, and Intel Optimus probably playing up a little bit there, I think. So what do we got here? Let's have a look at sources. So I don't know whether we can actually add the AUR in here. Alright, I have a feeling maybe Yowit's not around anymore. Alright, so it looks like we need to use an application called Yay, because Yowit is discouraged to use on Arch Linux. I didn't know that. I haven't been on an Arch base for a while, and if I had, I'd probably... It's probably through the Pac-Man GUI where you just go to the AUR and just turn it on. So normally it's that easy, but don't have that option here. So let's have a look. It says a git clone. I don't even know if I got git installed. .git. Git not found. Okay, so sudo pacman -S git. Let's install that, and then let's redo that command. And then we'll try that one again. And then we cd to yay. And then we shall make package. Make package -si. Proceed, yes. Okay, so we'll install that, yes, and yay should be installed. So working on the theory of Pac-Man, it should be yay dash capital S, little s to search, and I'll see if we can find a zoom. So there's the AUR. So what I'll do is I'll try and install sudo yay dash capital S zoom. See how we go with that. Packages to install. Okay, so I've got to choose which one I want to install. Video conferencing, which is number 2. Let's do that one. Refusing to install AUR packages, so we go yay dash capital S zoom. I don't know, is that what we do? Let's install number 1. Yes. Okay, so now we should have a zoom installed, hopefully. Let's have a look. Zoom is installed. So now we're using a yay. I think I've actually heard Silent Robot mention yay before. Probably didn't take a lot of notice of it because I don't run Arch all that often. So if we go through the menu, we can add things to our favorites in this Excalibur menu here. We can right click and add to favorites, and it'll show up there in your favorites. Same with Deep in Terminal, add to favorites. And we can also show alternatives for the menus. There's alternatives there. I think there's also should be, if we cancel that and add widgets, get new widgets, install widgets from get new widgets, download from Plasma widgets, and we search for menu. We'll just wait for that to load and we'll search for menu. And you've got simple menu, we can install that. And the tiled menu, install that. Close that, and then we should have more alternatives here. Tiled menu was not bad, I quite like that. That's quite a good one. So we've got most used up here. So what we have here is we have a very good simple and easy way to install an Arch base with very minimal amount of applications and enough to get you going, and then you can build upon this yourself. Just like antechdesigns deep in is the same thing, so there's very minimal amount in there. So if we go to, if we actually open Discover, I'll look for Firefox in here. And I'll just install Firefox through Discover. Enter. Firefox install. Now that blue line appears to be working okay now, so it might have been just an update it needed. And not only that, I've adjusted the mirrors as well. So there's only a few mirrors there because there's hundreds of mirrors in there, and it takes forever to get through the mirrors, and I think that's why you've got to adjust all those before you do anything. Just makes life a little bit easier and quicker. So we should now have Firefox installed. And we have about, help about Firefox 67.0.4. So that theme there is a little bit on the dark side. Close tabs. Just check out Configure Desktop. See what wallpapers we have in here. Alright, it doesn't want to show me the wallpapers. I'm not sure what's going on there. Not sure what's going on there. Just thought I'd slot a video in between here regarding the Configure Desktop. Did a reboot, and we now have our thumbnails in place, showing up no problem. I think it was because there was a large amount of updates, we just needed a reboot. So there's the wallpaper selection there, working as expected. And if we just have a look at some of the wallpapers here, some nice wallpapers in there. And some of the KDE standard wallpapers as well. So, and that's the this one here is the default that it came with. I think that's the new wallpaper for the latest Plasma release. So we have a Plasma desktop environment, very much up to date, being on an Arch base. And all you need to do is just install the applications you need and make it your own. So not a bad install for an Arch base, very easy to get through the install. The help of gparted is very welcomed there as well. So this is a very good distro if you like to be on a complete Arch base. And little things like Zoom you got to get from the AUR. It cannot be helped, I don't think. You probably can install Zoom with if you download the tarball, you can do it that way. Don't know if it's suggested to do it that way or go with the AUR, but I'm assuming the AUR gets it from Zoom anyway. It's just ran by scripts to get from the Zoom website. I don't know how that works, but it's Zoom and Telegram are the only two that I really need to install on something like this anyway, but other people might have other needs, and the AUR will come in handy. And I only use, it's just like snaps and Flatpaks and app images, I only use those when pretty much necessary anyway. Otherwise, I will try and get them from the available repos, just like I did with Firefox. So don't forget, one little thing we'll do again, if you want to search for something in Yay, just do Yay dash capital S, little s, space, and the name of the package, and that'll search the AUR for you and let you know what's available. So we installed Zoom. You can see it says they're installed. So it tells you that this bit here is just telling you it's from the AUR, that bit there, and then after that is the name of the package. So all you need to do is put that name there to install it. This name here to install that. You don't put the version number, you just put the name of the package. So very impressive distro here from antechdesigns ArchPlasma. Very simple to get up and running. And the other thing is I have in here, let's go to Dolphin. I have a video, and one thing I like, this is one of these is a test. This is my test video. So if we have a look at this, and it'll open up with the testing 1 2 3. There we testing go. Sound in ArchPlasma antechdesign. That must have opened up with MPV. So we'll open it with Deep in Movie. Testing 1. And what I like about Deep in Movie is one of the best things is it works like YouTube. You can click anywhere on the screen once, it'll play. 1 2 3 testing. And then you can click again and pause anywhere on the screen. I do like that about the Deep in Movie player. That is a nice little touch, because I quite often, when I'm playing a video back, I will hit the center of the screen. Then I've got to go bottom left corner or wherever it is and look for the pause button. So I do really like that about the Deep in Movie player. It's quite a nice little feature it has there. So I hope you enjoyed the look around of antechdesigns ArchPlasma 19.6. Hope you found it interesting and informative, and thanks for watching.